Oh man, just trying to think. I don't know if I want to get directly into what we were supposed to talk about today. If I want to just talk about something else. Oh man, I guess I'll start off by plugging the shirts, man. The shirt right here, sit at the 45 so people can see it. The camera. I got a friend of mine that's making these shirts. They say we will breathe. Check them out. Follow them on IG. 1111 Stay Golden. Yeah.
Is there a story behind it, or?
Yeah, bro. Like I said, this friend of mine uh, is making these shirts, and pretty much he wants to give back to the community, right?
Oh,
So he was telling me a little bit about it. Like he's always wanted to give back, but he didn't necessarily like have the capital to do it.
yeah.
So he was like, man, like I got a little bit of change. Let me make some shirts. And what he's doing is with half of the profits of the shirts, he's taking it and putting it towards a food drive. And he's also giving a meal and a shirt to the homeless. So for every person that buys a shirt, he's going to give a homeless person a shirt and a meal. And then taking the excess shit and like trying to fund a food drive for it. So
Okay.
yeah, so I was just like, I got to support, bro. It's a good
Yeah,
cause, you know.
that's real.
I got a shirt. But his IG is 1111 Stay Golden, you know.
How much you charging, or how much?
$40,
For it? Okay.
40 pop for the shirt,
That's solid.
40 piece. But I mean, it really ties down because I was talking to him, and it really just ties down to like, you know, economic empowerment. That's kind of like what we were hitting on a little bit. Just kind of like, you know, generating the capital to put ourselves in a better position as a people. Because he's black too.
Yeah.
So yeah, we were just talking about kind of, you know, different ways to come up. You know, because everybody starts somewhere, really.
Yeah.
And something I was talking to him about too was like vertical integration, like getting into like our shit today. Like it really made me think about like, you know, what we were talking about today. And I think that it's really important that we talk about like ownership. And I know I've mentioned it before, but just stressing how important that is, like especially to like right now where we're at. I think that specifically within the black community, because like the way that I look at like slavery and oppression, man, it's kind of like it's just transformed, and it's more or less like an economic oppression now. You know that's really like what the new slavery is to me. In my opinion, it's an economic thing. It's like I feel like I was listening to this interview of this man. His name's Dr. Boyce Watkins, and he was pretty much talking about how as long as you're working for somebody, you're in a position of servitude. So he was kind of trying to stress the importance of entrepreneurship and having means of income that are outside of somebody else's control, because he was explaining like if you work for an entity for like 20 to 30 years, you know, you think you're reaping the fruits of benefits, you know what I'm saying, because you are getting paid, you're creating a means of survival for yourself and your family, but essentially that company could let you go, you know what I'm saying, after 20 to 30 years of servitude, they could just let you go and replace you like you've never been there.
Yeah.
And it's like, damn, bro. Like, and he also talked about like how when you own something, that you're either like a key man or a key woman of the company. And not to say that that's a good or bad thing in general, because like it's like if something were to happen to you, if you're the key man or key woman, it's like somebody has to step up. You know what I mean, and be able to replace you in the business. But it's like kind of shows how important you are. You know, it kind of stresses to me. What I saw was like, you know, if you create something and you're a necessity, you know, to your business, then it's like you're important. You know what I'm saying? But it's like if you work for another entity, they're really just pimping you. You know what I'm saying? They could let you go at any time. You're not really that important.
Yeah.
And it's like it kind of devalues us, to me, as people. That's it. Kind of even boils back to me and like how I even my first initial decision to stop going to school and everything like that, because like in my opinion, school doesn't really teach you how to be an owner. They teach you how to be a worker. It's like all the knowledge they give you is to equip you to go work for somebody else. So yeah, man, today I just kind of wanted to talk about you know, some economic shit. Like I wrote down a term that I wanted to stress. It's called vertical integration, and I learned it from Nipsey. I think he says it in the title track of his album Victory Lap, where he goes, the line says like, "I'm integrated vertically, y'all niggas blew it." And pretty much what vertical integration is, I wrote down a definition. It's in microeconomics and management, vertical integration is an arrangement in which the supply chain of a company is owned by that company. Vertical integration and expansion is desired because it secures supplies needed by the firm to produce its product and the market needed to sell the product. So pretty much what it is ownership of every means of the supply chain. Because if you own every means of the supply chain, then it's like you can't be stopped.
Yeah.
And this is like a crazy time to mention this dude's name right now. You know, I mean, I think all great people are polarizing figures, but aside from the things that the media portrays about him, Kanye West is somebody that's doing that. And that's kind of like the part that I think is dope about his economic approach.
Yeah.
Like everything that he's doing with his brand, he's trying to buy land, you know, and land is really in America, land is really the most valuable thing that we can own right now. But it's like that's not what Stressor puts to the forefront of what we need to aspire to get. But
Yeah.
it's like if you buy land, then you can go from there and then create a means of, you know, generating a company. And by that, what he's doing is he's going from seed to sow with his clothing. So by buying land, he's able to then start farms, do agriculture, grow cotton, grow hemp, and also owning factories, be able to produce his own clothes all from scratch. And it's like when you look at like a lot of the power companies, you know, like you look at the Fords, you look at the Apples, these are vertically integrated companies. They own themselves completely from, you know, production to software to hardware, everything that they do, they own every means of the supply chain. So it's like, if you do that, you can't be stopped.
No.
But it's like, I even relate that back. I don't want to talk too much. I want you to talk too. But I even relate that back to like what recently happened with Nick Cannon, bro. Like the comments that he made aside, the fact that he was fired by Viacom, you know, and they own the rights to Wild 'N Out or whatever. It's like even if Black Entertainment Television wanted to pick him up, he couldn't do it because even they're owned by Viacom. And it's like that just all reflects back to our lack of ownership. And it's like we need to start owning shit, bro. That's what I'm trying to say. Like at the end of the day, we'll expand on it, but that's what I wanted to talk about today. Just ownership and economic empowerment, really. I think that's really important.
Nah, that's really it. You hit on a lot there, but that's really it. Economic empowerment.
Yeah.
And economic cooperation and collaboration, kind of
Mhm.
working together. It's tied into unity too, you know.
Mhm.
Start pulling our money together, you know, working together with other people in the community
Right.
for everyone's betterment, and stop seeing each other as competition and threats.
Right.
You know, that's kind of a part of it too. It's got to be like a degree of trust.
Yeah.
But it's like also economic trust, you know, where it's kind of like be able to, and you could elaborate more on like with black banking, or kind of like having to go to, instead of having to go to institutions and corporations and banks for money, you know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? We're funding our own projects.
Mhm.
And like that's not, it's kind of similar to vertical integration where it's like, you know, where all the money's coming from and like who's putting it up. So it's not like somebody else building something up in a community that they're not necessarily invested in. You know?
Exactly. Yeah.
They're looking to more just exploit that community.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. That's actually also one of the key components that I think about when I think about ownership and being vertically integrated, because it's like it's tougher. You know what I'm saying? It's tougher to like start from scratch. It's like because essentially if you look at like the way talent is kind of like used and pimped, it's like you take somebody that's in a vulnerable situation that's eager to get a business started or eager to be put in a position. It's like if somebody has the money to do that, you know what I'm saying? They'll take that because they see the potential of it. They know how much it's worth. So they put you in a position to where, you know, even though it seems like, you know, it's your creativity, but it's like you're being pimped because at the end of the day, they still own it. Like, same thing, back to like Nick Cannon, the whole Wild 'N Out thing. Like, at the time, I'm sure he wouldn't do that now. You know what I'm saying? Because now he's in a different position. But at the time he probably first started Wild 'N Out and stuff, he didn't have the, you know, the capital to probably fund it properly to make it what it is today.
Yeah.
But it's like we sell out, so to speak. That, like the term selling out to these entities that see the potential in things and they know how things are going to be. So it's like, hey, it's nothing for us to put our marketing dollars behind this really quick. You know what I'm saying? Because we're going to get fucking 10 to 100 times, you know what I'm saying? Like what we're putting into it, and then we're still going to shovel you off just a little bit of it. But it's like that lack of ownership also leads to exploitation heavy. And like that's my biggest problem with like hip hop, for instance. Like just the fact that we don't own hip hop, that's so detrimental to our community, bro. Because it's like I've told you this bar before. I don't think I've said this on the podcast before. Like I was talking to my mom one day, and I was just like, man, it's so crazy to me how the same shit that'll get you locked up for 30 years to get you life in prison is the same shit that'll get you a $5 million deal.
Yeah.
And that's like, if that doesn't scream exploitation, you know what I'm saying? Like something's wrong. Like, I don't know what does, but like at the end of the day, you can't be exploited if you own what you're producing. You can't, because then you have creative control over everything. So you choose what goes out. You control the narrative. You control, you know what I'm saying? How it's not necessarily, you can't control people's perceptions, but you know what I'm saying? You can control how it's manipulated. You know what I'm saying? And you can control. You're not necessarily being exploited as a people
by someone else. You get
exactly by
yourself,
somebody else. Exactly. If you're doing it, you're the one that's doing it essentially. And like, even what you said about the whole banking thing, I was listening to this guy. His name's Derek Grace. If you follow him on Instagram, I believe his @ name is Derek Grace too. But he also talks about like financial empowerment and everything. And I remember I was listening to him speak on family banking. And that's something within unification, like within the black community, that we don't have. Like, we don't trust each other. We don't trust each other to be like, hey, bro, you know what I'm saying? Let's get together and buy this property. Let's get together and put our money into this project. You know what I'm saying? And then we're going to get 3-4 times fold, you know, what we put into it. We don't have that trust to work together to create something. You know what I'm saying? That's going to be bigger. But he was pretty much explaining how ironic and kind of just like, I don't know what the word is. I don't want to say jaded, but just doesn't make any sense, man. Like, we're so comfortable with going to these banks and getting loans for things that we want to do. Go get a car loan, you know what I'm saying, so we could get the Benz or whatever. And they're taxing the fuck out of us. Like, for real. Like, they're taxing us a lot of money. The interest rate is crazy compared to, like, if we were to go to somebody that we know that has bread, or collectively come together, you know what I'm saying, with a formal agreement in order to make something happen, and we wouldn't take advantage of each other. And he was pretty much explaining starting family banks, as in, like, you know, if you know somebody, for instance, he was giving the example of like his daughter wants to do something. And he was like, you know, she wants to start like a game or something, I think he was trying to explain. And she needed like $3,000 to be matched to get it started. So he was like, I'm going to make an agreement with my daughter, contractual, that I'm going to loan her this money, and she is going to pay me interest, but she's not going to pay me as much as the banks, nearly as much as the interest, you know, that the banks charge. And he was pretty much explaining that that's a powerful thing that we can use within our community. You know what I'm saying? Having formal agreements with people and not necessarily expecting handouts from our own. And that's oftentimes something that I feel like hinders us from being progressive, in that is expecting a handout. Like, we just want shit to be free. We just want to be like, hey, bro, I'm trying to do something. Can you give me this?
Put me on.
You know what I'm saying? Like, or put me on. You know what I'm saying? But it's like, no, let's run this how the institutions do it, but let's not, you know, completely take advantage of each other like how they do us. And it's really interesting to me, because this was a point that he made. Like, you'll go get the car loan, you'll go get the business loan, whatever you need to do, and they're pretty much fucking you by the interest rate that they're charging you on your money. But it's like, you'll have this cousin that borrows $20 from you, you know what I'm saying, and they owe you $20, then you don't talk to them. And it's like, yo, these corporations are doing this to you every day. You know what I'm saying? You're not mad at them. Or even if, you know, somebody else that's a different color, you know what I'm saying? It's like, we trust them more than we trust our own people. We need to get out of that. You know, we need to get out of that shit.
We're very distrusting and skeptical of each other. I mean, obviously, it's not like for no reason. We do take advantage of each other, but it's like every culture does take advantage of their own. That's part of it too. But it's like, I don't know, the trust is like the underlying thing. That's the only way we're gonna get unity. If we have trust first. It's like, that's the direction that's gotta go.
And even tying it back to vertical integration too, because this is something that I'm pretty sure I've mentioned before, but I'll mention it again, is that I see this narrative going around on IG, and I like to mention social media a lot because, like, that's our platform, you know what I'm saying? People watch it on there. But it's like, on IG, there's this narrative that's popular right now about supporting black business. And I'm really hoping that the black business owners know that they need to not only recycle these dollars back into their community, but expand and create a means of ownership. I was listening to Expeditiously, T.I.'s podcast, and he was talking to Derek Grace, the guy that I just previously mentioned. And he was talking about an encounter, a memory that he had with Nipsey Hussle. And he was pretty much talking about how he made these T-shirts, and they kind of had blew up. T.I. made these T-shirts, and they kind of blew up. and he was saying that Nip started questioning him. You know what I'm saying about the whole process behind it.
Yeah.
And he said he was like, okay, you know, like who manufactures them? And you know, he told him, you know, how they get manufactured and all this stuff. And he told him pretty much that there's another entity that takes care of all the, you know, all the sweat equity and stuff for them. They do distribution and all of those things. So Nip just kind of peeped game. And then when he went back to, you know, make his clothing brand, everything that T.I. had explained, because breaking somebody off to, you know, do something for you, obviously you have to split the profits with them. So he was pretty much saying that Nip took all the knowledge from him, took it back into what he was doing, and eliminated them. You know what I'm saying? And he was like, I could build a means of production myself.
Cut out the middleman.
Exactly. That he actually had a motto. It's called "Fuck the middleman." Yeah, fuck the middleman, proud to pay. But like, that's what we need to start doing. When I talk about like furthering after the fact of supporting black businesses, it's like, okay, say I have a black store. It's like, where's our agriculture coming from? Is that black owned? No, it's not. All right, we got to figure out how to do that. You know what I'm saying? Like,
if we're not in that market, how we can get in
that
market?
How can we get in that market? It's like for everything that they have, you know what I'm saying? And I'm not talking about, you know, colorism. I'm just talking about just in general, like what these companies support. You know what I'm saying? It's like for everything they have, we need to have a counter. You know what I'm saying? In order to make our situation better in this country, because we revolve around economics. Like I even saw something that really hyped me up too. I'll plug them, even though I don't even know who the fuck they are. But I was scrolling down Instagram one day, and I saw that there's this black-owned software coming out to compete with PayPal, and it's called Payment. It's called PEYMYNT.
Okay.
And they released a beta version last month, and I'm right now like working on websites and stuff for artwork. You know what I'm saying? So I'm like, I'm thinking along the lines of when I do that, how can I team up with them? You know what I'm saying? To generate income for the both of us, because that's an entity that I support. You know what I'm saying? It's a black-owned software. Like that's the type of shit we need going. Like, but vertical integration, man, that's a strong concept that I definitely, and it's deep too. It's deep. There's a lot of things you could talk about within, you know, the means of owning your supply chain and maintaining creative control and stuff like that. But yeah, man, I'm like off on a tangent right now.
It's all tied into the economic empowerment. You know, that's really, because that's foundational.
Yeah.
It's just, And I mean, I see that's part of it too. We got to build up our own communities. So like you're saying, those black-owned businesses, and because in that part of that same podcast, T.I. kind of talked about it, how somebody, I forget who he said, but somebody put him on game, basically just saying how it's like a lot of black people that come from certain areas, once they get money, their first thing is they want to leave the areas they come from because it's maybe high crime or whatever is going on. And he was the same way. He's like, once I got money, I was like, I'm trying to get out of here. I'm trying to go far away from here. But then it's kind of just like changing that mentality where it's like, why not build this up? Why not, you know? And he was saying basically what made him realize is like, shit, I'd rather build this up and do this myself. Basically, I'd rather exploit myself once he saw like gentrification happening. Once he saw like, okay, they're buying up buildings and they're trying to, because he was basically saying it's like, and he was also saying on the flip side, I can't get mad that they saw value in something I left. Yeah. You know? So it's kind of like, how can I get mad? And that's what it's just we got to build up our own. And that's where it starts. That's why I feel like that's really the best starting place is our own communities and making sure those are good, making sure that those are, you know, we're owning the property and all that stuff, and we're owning all that, and then we gotta go from there a little more.
Simply put, like, man, when we get rich, you know what I'm saying, which is not wealth, we need to stop buying those Rolls Royces. We need to stop buying those Bentleys. We need to start buying fucking land. That's what we need to do.
Even in cities that we know too, or like cities where it's kind of, I mean, like build up our own communities, build our own safe havens. I forget somebody was just saying how it's like they have a Chinatown, they have a Koreatown.
That's Dr. Umar.
It's like, why not have, you know, our black enclave, you know, where it's like it's a haven, you're protected there, and you know, to get to that, we got to get past the abusing each other. We got to get past taking advantage, exploiting each other. You know.
Yeah, it even makes me think of, I have a recent situation that I'll even share, like, and this was my fault too, because that even boils down to right now I'm trying to figure out how to, in terms of like what I do with art and stuff, make sure that I charge what I'm worth, you know, and it's like we really set the precedent for what we're worth, You know, nobody can tell you.
If you
what
don't,
gotta
somebody
say.
else will.
Somebody else definitely
That's what it
will,
is.
bro.
You know what I'm saying? Because
I
that's what
fucking learned that
exactly.
shit.
That's the thing. That's the caveat people
Yeah,
got to
bro.
realize. You got to set that yourself.
Uh-huh.
You know, or else people
Yeah.
will set one for you, and they're gonna undervalue it.
They sure as hell will, and they will undervalue you every time, and then you just feel fucked afterwards, and you feel, you know, taken advantage of.
Exploited.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Exploited. But that recently happened to me where I did a piece of work for somebody and I undercharged them, like talking like 5 times under. You know what I'm saying? What they were supposed to pay for it, and it's just like, man. And they were same color as me, you know, and I'm pretty sure they knew it. And I feel like we have this thing. I talk to my cousin about this all the time because she's a freelance photographer. So, you know, we're both kind of in the art scene, you know what I'm saying? Like getting work and stuff like that. But it's like we have this thing sometimes within the black community where on the other side as a consumer, we think consuming black things means that it's going to be cheaper.
Yeah.
Or shit, sometimes fucking free just because we
Yeah.
know because we know the
That's
niggas.
looking out.
Yeah,
Like,
bro.
like,
So
you
we
know.
looking out. So shit, hey, bro, let me get, you
Just
know,
like, fuck
hey,
your
you
business
got-
model,
yeah,
man.
it's like, fuck the business
You know?
model. You're black. Like, no, fuck
Let me
that.
get that.
Yeah, no. But we have this thing within the black community of like looking out or like, you know what I'm saying, like undercharging our own. But it's like we can't be doing that.
Yeah,
you
that
know,
ain't always looking out.
that
You know
ain't
what I'm saying?
looking out at all. Looking out
It's
is
paying full
full
price.
price.
Exactly,
That's what
you
looking out
know?
is, and like supporting is.
Yeah.
But on the counter, I'll also say this for black business, like being an entrepreneur, somebody, you know, who has consumers that receive my products, it's like, man, we got to make sure that what we produce is high quality too. At the same time,
Yeah.
like, we got to make sure that, you know, we come with it. Like we're A1 with our production. Whatever product we're producing, whether you make skincare, whether it's soap, whatever the fuck it is, clothes, you know what I'm saying? Artwork,
Quality.
whatever. The
Yeah.
quality needs to be on point if we want to compete with the prices of brands that are, you know, charging people, you know, however much they're charging, and they have prominent names. We have to make sure that we come with the quality of the work too.
No, that's real. Just like how we're saying, look out, like because they speak Spanish, she's like, okay, you're gonna give me a discount, or
Yeah, it's definitely a
Nah.
multicultural thing.
That's what. Yeah, like
And
all cultures, they really
Yeah.
like they prey on each other.
Yeah.
You know, they exploit each other.
And it's not even, yeah, man, yeah.
And it's crazy because like that's just like twofold too. Like it's like we'll
Yeah.
prey on each other and we'll prey on strangers.
Mm-hmm.
But it's just like as far as deciding which is which, that's where it's like almost kind of biased. Like,
Yeah. It's like that's what capitalism has enabled, though, man. Like we're always in a position of trying to come up on somebody.
take
like,
advantage. It's the land
trying
of
to take
yeah.
advantage of somebody.
Yeah. You know.
It's like the land of the opportunity. You know what I'm saying? So it creates opportunists.
Exactly.
Everybody trying
Trying
to take advantage of people, man.
Exactly. And man, it's crazy the way that like that's framed as the only good thing. You know what
Yeah.
I'm saying? Whereas
Mhm.
like it really isn't. But it's like it really like the way we're taught is like, you know, you better take advantage of opportunity, take advantage of circumstance, take advantage of everything. You know,
Yeah.
it's kind of drilled in you. But it's like the whole concept of taking advantage of things isn't necessarily like the best. Like it's not okay if you did like it's not beneficial for everyone.
Yeah,
That's what
no.
it is. If you're taking advantage of somebody else, like they're not benefiting from it. So it's
Mhm.
kind of like I don't know, just rethinking that whole concept of like taking advantage of
Mhm.
opportunity. Not saying that it's like, of course that's a real thing. You know what I'm saying? If you get opportunities and circumstances,
Yeah.
you know, utilize it, maximize it. But it's just like, don't necessarily feel like you got to exploit another person or you got to exploit yourself even or resources or certain things, you know, to achieve things. But that's also tied into capitalism where it's
Right.
like it's competition based.
Yeah.
And like you got to acknowledge that like what competition like when you have a competition, naturally people are going to cheat. People are going
Right.
to try to win, you know? And in competition is winners and losers. So it's
Mhm.
like what are you really doing for the losers? And it's
Mhm.
like if there's no real guarantee to avoid or there's no really compensation for the losers, you're just going to have the same losers every time. And it's like
Yeah.
a cycle of the same losers, the same. The winners are winning more and the losers
The
are losing
losers are
more.
losing
So that's
more.
why you get a super rich, you know, 1%, 5% certain demographic and it's like everybody else is, you know what I'm
Yeah.
saying, slowly making less money kind of.
It's totally disproportionate. It makes me even think that like at some point, like, will there even be a middle class? You know what
Nah,
I'm saying?
yeah.
Like the wealth gap will probably be so, you
Uh,
know, the marginalization will just be so wide. It's like, damn.
That's exactly where it's going, bro.
Yeah.
Is there a middle class though?
Is there?
Right now, like, isn't there in crazy disparity in wealth between? I think you can argue that it doesn't exist now. that
That's crazy.
at a certain level, because there's still 1% and 99 there. So where's the middle? Like,
Yeah.
That's very true.
That's true.
That's very true.
That's true.
Cause
Man.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's basically just like the very wealthy and everyone else.
Yeah.
Almost.
Damn, man. We still filming, right?
yeah,
Oh, okay,
we're
cool. I'm
on
just
there,
making
for
sure.
we're
I
on
like
there.
that cut in. I like that.
Yeah.
I just didn't know because usually you don't talk. So I was like, oh shit, Kyle P in the cut, man.
Nah, but the
Kyle
facts.
P on social
with the
class,
facts.
man, with the facts.
But that's
Yeah.
man, because one of the books I'm reading, that's kind of what they're just saying. Like one of the chapters was titled "The Coming Class War."
Right.
Basically, kind of just like saying the very rich have gotten so rich. There's no, unless an intervention is made, there's no reining that back in. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like the 1%, and then like, really the 1%, and then the 0.1%. It's like they have more wealth than the majority of other Americans. Like they're kind of doing what they want. The inequality is already so high. Where it's
Yeah.
like we need solutions to kind of not just to stop it, but to reverse it.
Yeah,
you know?
exactly.
That's
Yeah.
why. And the dude that wrote the book, his name is Daniel Markovits, but he just
What's the name of the book?
The Meritocracy Trap.
Meritocracy Trial.
It's a good one because it talks about basically how meritocracy has replaced the old aristocracy, and basically how everything basically it's like people not convince themselves, but it's like it's through elite training and like the schooling, but it's like they convince themselves it's all like based on merit, but it's like because in the book it even talks about like there's competitive preschools, like that's it that's when stuff is starting, and like that's the direction.
Kids be 2 or 3 years old.
Exactly,
Already
that's the
introducing
direction. But it's like
competition?
exactly that's kind of the nature of what he's talking about. And it's like
Yeah.
that's the direction that like the elite are in, and it's like whereas the aristocracy people used to just like they had money and then they were like a leisure class, like
Right.
they didn't have to do anything. But he's basically saying now like the super rich now are working all the time, like they're working a lot more. It's not really like leisure anymore. And like that's kind of where it's like because they work so much, that's kind of their justification for the money that they make, but it's still like outlandish, you know,
Yeah.
disproportionate if you compare like the CEOs to what the average workers are making
Yeah.
at like the financial at like hedge funds and like law firms and things
Right.
like that. Like that's gotten way that inequality's gotten way worse.
Yeah.
That's kind of it.
That really makes me question where we're going, bro. Like, like that really makes me question, like, with that marginalization, like, what is the greed for? You know what I'm saying? Like, what is it? Why do people need to get so rich? And you know what I'm saying? And we know that there's people out here starving like that. Like, what's the plan? Like, almost like how when we were talking the other day, we were talking about Jeff Bezos, and I was talking about, you know, how, you know, he don't really be donating to charity and shit like that. I'm like, what the fuck is he really trying to do?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, what are they really trying to do? Getting so rich. What are they really trying to do? Live forever?
Of course,
like,
I don't know definitively, right? But
yeah,
it's like it's no. That's my only. I just feel like it's the future. Like I don't know. I feel like that's the only thing they could possibly be looking toward.
Right.
You know. So it's kind of just like, damn, what's next? And like that's why you got the Elon Musk. It's like, okay, I've done everything I want to do on Earth.
Let me get to Mars.
Exactly. I'm gonna do everything I want to do on Mars, and then it's like, okay, what's poppin' Jupiter? You know, and then it's like, all right, now we're out the Milky Way. You know, it's like then we're everywhere. It's
Bro.
like I'm just gonna be everywhere. It's like the greed is gonna be insatiable. It's like we're just gonna keep. Man, that would really be, and like, but that's the thing too. Like, I don't think humans are that smart, but it's like we've created artificial intelligence now, and so now artificial intelligence might take us to a level we didn't even think we could get to. But then it's like there's the downside of that, where it's like what happens once there's more robots,
right?
And like the artificial intelligence has its own language,
right?
Now it's like it's tired of it's not taking orders from humans.
Humans,
anymore,
yeah, it's just doing whatever the fuck it wants to do.
Exactly. It's
that's scary as fuck, man. That's scary as fuck. I remember I was listening to Elon on Joe Rogan. He was talking about that chip that they can implant in the brain to heal people. Did you get a chance to listen to that?
Is that the whole Neuralink thing or no?
I believe
something else?
it was. I forgot what it's called. I can't comment on it because I forgot what it's called. But he was pretty much just saying that it would be an electric, like a chip that stimulates the brain by like sending electrical impulses, and they can put it different parts on the brain that can restore functions because all of your nerves operate on like electrical impulses. So he was saying like, say somebody that's gone blind, or somebody, you know, who has kidney failure, or somebody who's fucking can't hear anymore.
Yeah.
They could target which part on the brain, you know, which neural connections aren't generating electric impulses, and it would then stimulate those impulses and restore the function.
Damn.
That was pretty wild, bro, because it's like, damn, like, if that's the direction we're going in. And he was talking about this shit may be ready in like 10 years. So I'm like, bro, like, think about 20, 30 years. You know what I'm saying?
No,
like,
exactly.
somebody's heart stops, and it's like, yo, like, we already can do, you know, open heart surgery and shit like that, but like, are they trying to figure out how to live forever? Like, what the fuck?
No, that's
like,
that's the direction.
what's happening?
And
like,
you pair that with gene editing. Now you can edit your baby. You can
yeah,
edit
yeah,
you know what I'm saying?
you can
It's
make a
like,
baby.
Exactly, and then it's like on top of that, you're like you can make it not prone to diseases. So
Yeah.
you can make it so it's like okay,
I want a 9-foot cancer foot baby.
exactly you know?
This
type thing. Exactly. You know, I want a LeBron
Nigga,
James.
big
You
and
know,
tall.
I want him to go to the league.
I want a LeBron Griffin.
Exactly.
I want a nigga 7'2" with a 50-inch vertical.
Exactly. Play every sport professionally. But it's like that's the that I
Fucking
feel
make
like,
a baby.
I feel like that's kind of what you're touching on too, though. Is like, what's next? It's like the more technological advancements we make, what's the use of them if like so much of the world is still suffering?
Yes, bro.
And so much of the world is still like struggling. So it's like, okay, maybe let's use all this new technology to bring everybody up to the same playing field.
Yeah.
You know, instead of like,
That's what
okay,
I'm saying,
but what's
man,
happening is
yeah.
like you have these people who are just taking off, and it's like they're no looking back. Like
Yeah.
they're taking off to like the stratosphere, and it's like you got people who are
Uh-huh.
underground still.
Just leaving us behind.
And
man.
it's like, why not have a link? You know what I'm saying? It's
Mhm.
gonna take the people at the top to pull everybody else up. But it's like you're saying, those billionaires, they're not looking at how can I help the whole world.
Mhm.
It's like, how can I keep? Of course, like on the surface, they are, you know, some of that, like the charitable giving and all that. But it's like for the most part, it's kind of like more probably personal advancements, you know,
Yeah.
that they're trying to make.
Mm-hmm. That's the thing too. Like, if you really start like looking at money, man, a lot of times these charitable givings, like, they're not.
It's a write off, or it's
well,
like a loophole.
They're not scratching the surface of their wealth.
Yeah,
You know what I'm
that too.
saying? Like, when they're giving back, like, they're not really doing anything that's hurting them.
Yeah,
You know what I'm saying? And
like they've
especially
made that back like 3 times.
exactly,
in-
yeah, because we're in a position right now, where we're dependent upon contributing to a system that works against us for our survival. So it's like you can't. So how do you break that shit?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, we have to survive. We gotta shop at certain store. Like, you know, like when I talk about, like I said, vertical integration in the supply chain, well, it's like, man, like in some cases we can't break that. Like they already got the root of the supply chain all sewed up. So it's like, you know what I'm saying? We gotta go for some shit. It's kind of like
that's true.
we're stuck in
We're
some
dependent.
places. Yeah,
in a
we're
lot of
dependent.
ways. There's not enough
We're dependent.
self-reliance, but
Mhm.
self-reliance is difficult, you know. But it's kind of like like imagine if everybody had their own like plot of land or like
Mhm.
grew their own food. I mean,
Mhm.
I don't know if that would necessarily be, but kind of like that direction. Just if there was more access for that for people, I
Right.
suppose.
Right. I'm going to look into this. I'm kind of indifferent about saying it on the podcast just because like this is the platform, but I'm gonna just say it anyway. Like,
Yeah,
don't
that's what
quote
I'm
me
getting
as
to.
this. Don't quote
Yeah.
this as factual information.
Yeah,
I'll
fact
just
check
put out the
everything I
disclaimer.
say, please.
Yeah,
I
fact check
never-
everything.
yeah.
We just talking like
Yeah.
we just fucking talking. Like, but I pulled up on my homie today, and we were talking about the same shit, like economic empowerment and stuff like that. But he had told me something about they have like a I wouldn't call it a law. Once again, this isn't. I don't know if this is factual or not, but it's some sort of restriction where if you start using too much water at your house, they want to figure out what the fuck is going on, and they stop you from using a lot of water at your house for agricultural purposes. So it's like, say if you were to take your backyard, try to start growing shit, you know what I'm saying? They're tapped into like your water usage, and they will be like, hey,
spikes.
why are you using so much water? This isn't all showers type of
Yeah.
thing. That's pretty much what he was explaining to me, that they will cut off your supply of water if you use way too much water. And that kind of like makes me think about like, damn, like, once again, I don't know if it's factual or not. You know, I have to look it up still. This literally just happened today, like probably right before we started talking. But I'm going to look into it. But it's like, if that is real, I'm in a position right now, man, with like the way, like it, I kind of believe that shit. You know what I'm saying? Like before seeing if it's factual, like I would understand if that was a thing. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah.
Like by looking at like how we're controlled and stuff like that, I'm like, damn, man, like that doesn't sound too far fetched. I
Mhm.
that sounds like it could be pretty relevant. But once again, I don't know if it's factual or not. It could be a total fuck up. It may not be true, but
Nah, that's kind of not saying that that's a conspiracy, but it's
hmm
like that's kind of like the climate that we're in, where it's like people aren't necessarily as skeptical of conspiracies as they were once were. Like people are kind of taking them with the more with the grain of salt because it's like at the same time too people are learning like stuff's actually been done, like
right,
stuff's gone on behind closed doors that people haven't known about that's come out later,
right,
so like when you hear something's happening behind closed doors or something that's like happening that you don't necessarily have physical evidence of, but it's like you have rumblings of people are a little more inclined to listen now, so
hmm
more than and it's like I don't think it's a obviously it's a balance, you know what I'm saying? You can't have conspiracy theorists out running around. But it's like it's crazy, but you got the president pushing conspiracy theories, so it's like it's hard to tell people, not to be doing that when that's what the president. But it's like at the same time, we're at a good place too, where it's not a good place, but it's like we're at a place where it's like, man, people gotta question everything,
yeah,
especially
exactly.
tradition. You know what
hmm
I'm saying? Question every single like, but that's kind. People are really kind of getting to it, man. Like think about like the Pledge of Allegiance, and then like
hmm
think about like stuff you used to do in school, where it's just like it was just like formalities, but like you look back on it and it's like why do
Yeah.
you kind of do certain things like that,
hmm
and it's like I feel like it's a good place where it's like question things,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah. No, for sure. That makes me think of 2 points. One point, something that I got. I'm plugging this dude's name a lot right now.
Talk to him.
Derek Grace. Derek Grace. He was talking about, and this was in Ti's podcast too, where he mentioned that traditionalism and common sense. People are going to start to realize that those two things don't go together.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's what people really like realizing right now, bro. Like what
Right.
we're used to and common sense, it ain't the same thing.
It's not.
For real. Like it's not the
Man.
same thing. And it's like
Man.
that was one point. And then the second point was about conspiracies. I had actually talked to you about this. I think you came over the crib and we talked about it. I showed you this video. I hope Kyle could put a clip of it in too, by the way. It was this guy kind of breaking down where conspiracy theories originated. And he was remember that? And he was kind of talking about like conspire means to plan with ill intent. And he was talking about how it originated during the crack epidemic. And it was pretty much when people started to question things that were going on with the government, then they labeled them as conspiracy theories and gave them a negative connotation, so that whenever people question the government, it would be
You're
it would look like
yeah,
it would look like it has a negative connotation on it already. And it's like, why would you want to make questioning your government, you know what I mean, seem like a bad thing? And it's like when there really is shit that does go on, and it's like pretty much he had explained that it's easier to control the people that are in fear and chaos.
That's
And
it,
it's
bro.
like that's where we're at right now, but people, man, I hate to just bring it into social media. I don't want to go there, but
Nah,
bro.
see, what people don't realize is like we're living through a social experiment right now. Everybody
We
on
are,
social media living through a social
man.
experiment. It's not been around that long. So like come the next 10, 15
come
years,
on.
we're really gonna know the effects that it's having, not just on every generation. That's the
Yeah.
thing. It's having an effect on older generations, on kids, and everybody in between.
Mm-hmm.
That's why I say you can't really harp on it too much. Like
Yeah.
some people treat it like a scapegoat, like how they. I remember one person compared it to like how they did rap music when it first came out. Like tried to blame everything on rap music.
Yeah.
But it's like that's not necessarily the same thing with like social media. I feel like is causing a lot. It's just stuff we're ignoring.
Yes, for sure.
But we'll pay attention to it at some point.
For sure. It's influenced the way media works.
Social behavior.
It's influenced everything, bro. Like it's hard to get into a conversation about anything without mentioning it. Because it's tied in it. It's impossible.
Yeah.
Like if you're being honest,
With certain,
like,
yeah.
you can't. Yeah, you can't not mention social media when it comes to anything. I'm sorry.
Facts.
What were you gonna say?
No, that's it.
Yeah.
Cause you were about to say something. No, I cut you off with the.
I don't know. I was just saying. Like I hate to bring it up on every fucking podcast, but like,
I don't mind.
you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like it gets there because it's the truth. It's the truth. So it just keeps on coming up. No matter, I mean, everything essentially is connected. But no matter what problem we talk about in society as a whole, bro, like social media, that shit's connected to it. It's connected to it. Because I was kind of getting at, I wanted to talk about this too. Once again, reiterating the point about how perception has been made so important through social media, but how a lot of times people will create this profile on social media and have that be a totally different version from them their actual selves, because we're living in the point where that perception is just, it's more of a display of who I am as opposed to who I actually am.
Facts.
And I wanted to tell a little story about it. Somebody, I don't mention names, you know what I'm saying, so nobody will really know who this person is, but I had gone to a party, and to be honest, like, I was disappointed in this situation, but I was more disappointed in myself, you know what I'm saying, than the person.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think it's important to mention the story just because of the climate that we're living in. But this happened with a person that I don't really know too well, right? So I go to this party, and you know, everything's good. Nothing, you know, it wasn't even that big of a problem, but this is just a point that I'm making. So this person, like I said, I don't know them too well. They followed me on social media maybe like 3 to 4 weeks before this incident, right? And they're like a friend of a friend. They're distant. Like I said, I don't really know them too well. So I commend them though, because for the time that we're in, I found that a lot of social injustice stuff has become a fad for people, like how we talked about in, I don't know, episode whatever, you know, about like, let's see what people actually do. A lot of people ain't posting shit no more. I know you're not on social media like that. A lot of people, they stopped doing this shit. Like, they don't fucking care. It was just for the trend of everything. You know, let me go out there, hold up a fucking sign, post my Instagram picture real quick.
I did my
You know what I'm saying? I did my part. Behind the scenes, they're not thinking about shit. Like, really, they don't give a fuck. They just, you know, they posted, they did their job. They were part of the movement.
They got their grand.
Yeah, exactly. So, no, I commend this person though, because like I said, they followed me maybe about 3 or 4 weeks before this incident, and they were one of the people that, first of all, they aren't black, and they continued to post like about things, and they weren't posting necessarily like regurgitated information that's like, you know, popular, because like I found, yeah, exactly, they were posting some substance, some things that were actually helpful. So I was like, damn, that's dope. So, you know, I peeped it. I would see them post every other day, whatever. They were consistent with it too. Yeah. Probably still are consistent till this day, right now, while we're filming. So, yeah, like I said, I commend them for that. And I had noticed that. But I go to this party, and, you know, it was a different setting. You know what I'm saying? It's a party, you know? But I'm sitting there, and I'm talking to somebody. And the same person that I'm describing that posted all this stuff puts on a song. Like I said, they aren't black. They start saying the N-word. They say it, when they said it the first time, I was like, oh. And like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I felt kind of, because I was the only black person there. So, you know, I'm just sitting there and I'm like, oh, all right, you know, they said it. And then, you know, I just continued my conversation. But I'm going to be honest, immediately I felt uncomfortable. Because, like, the way they said it was so confident and shit. I was like, oh, okay.
That's what we doing.
Yeah, that's what we doing. Oh, is that type of party? So anyway, I just kept on talking, and I knew the song, so I knew the word was about to come up again. So I was like, oh fuck. I'm like, in my head, I'm praying they don't say it. I'm just like, oh, please don't say it again. They said it, and then it came up again. They said it again, and I'm just like, man, like, I didn't say anything. That's why I started off saying I was disappointed in myself more than I was at the person, because I feel like we're at the point now where we need to have those difficult conversations. But at the same time, I was like, you know, I don't want to mess up this party. I don't want to ruin the moment. I don't want everybody to think it's weird. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? I don't want to make everything uncomfortable. But in the back of my head, I'm just like, man, like, I really didn't expect that, especially from that person, because of the content that they have been posting on their media. I was like, oh, I know they're definitely living their life. You know what I mean? To stand behind the shit that they post, standing in solidarity, trying to improve things, to make things better. And here they are just carelessly blurting out the N-word. I'm not going to lie, bro. I felt uncomfortable. I didn't say anything. I don't know if anybody else knew I was uncomfortable. But I was like, man. Yeah, man. But that just kind of makes me think about how, in some cases, you know, people may be putting things up just to look morally correct, or for, you know what I mean, for an image, and then not really living their life to be helpful or contribute to things. And that worries me if we've gotten to that place, to where people just think they have to look morally correct, and in real life not really stand behind it. Like, if you're posting all this stuff about, you know, standing behind people in solidarity and we need to stop racism and all this other stuff, and then you're out and an act of racism happens, you know what I'm saying, and you don't stop it, you don't step in, or either, like you said, you're contributing to the problem, like, that's kind of, that's something to me. Yeah, that kind of sucks, because I'm like, man, I don't want to get that out of touch to where people think that they could do that and that's okay.
Yeah, that's where we're at,
Because it
bro.
really,
That's-
because it really
that's-
seemed like
that's-
that shit was just okay.
That's where we're
Like-
going, bro. I say, in my opinion, social media has made society more superficial.
Yeah.
You know, in ways, because it's like now people understand it. Okay, it's like it's the internet persona and it's real life, but it's like I can manipulate that internet persona to be
Yeah.
whatever I want it to be.
Yeah.
You know, and so it's like, shoot, that's what people do. You know,
For sure.
I feel like that's kind of what we're realizing and seeing with social media, the way you can really manipulate perception.
Mhm.
You know, you look at somebody's Instagram, you can really make it look. You can make it look like you're living however the fuck you want to make it look like you're living on Instagram. You
Bro,
know?
I know a nigga that
You
does
could
this.
you could do it. You can make you.
I'm not gonna call him out.
You
but-
can and like and like it's the same thing. So now you got people, and it's the same thing with the saying. Like, okay, if you take Twitter, you know, you can go talk however you want to talk. You
Uh-huh.
know, use slang you don't use in person, or use words. You know what I'm saying? Say things you don't really say in person, but you can go on Twitter and tweet like it and say
Mhm.
whatever you want. So it really is a disconnect. And I was being so serious. Like everybody's really just some guinea pigs. Like we're gonna see what the mental health effects are. Like it really might be an increase in like bipolar. Like the thing is too with personality is
Yeah.
that's my biggest thing. Now even you'll have people. There's influencers and there's whatever like social media profiles and stuff
right.
and personalities.
Right.
And so people see that and they're like, oh, I like his personality.
Right.
I'm gonna just be like, bro.
Yeah.
I'm gonna just talk how bro talks. I'm gonna dress how bro, you know. And so
That
now,
already happens.
exactly.
Yeah.
And so now you're kind of getting that on a bigger. You're getting that on deeper levels than people even realize. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? And that's what people just don't. It's a lot of influence on social media, and people don't realize the ways in which that influence is gonna seep into your unconscious. Not even
Mhm.
seep into it. It's gonna go right into your unconscious, and that unconscious is gonna seep into your conscious behavior.
Mm-hmm.
And some of your unconscious behavior you're not going to be aware of. So
Right.
it's just like that's what people really, and it's really kind of just about like what you're intaking
Right.
informationally. I remember it was the Patriot Act that said it. It was basically just like
Who's the Patriot Act by?
it's Hassan Minhaj. It's a show on Netflix, and he was just kind of talking about like information is like food, whereas like if you're not intaking anything but like high fructose corn syrup, if that was your diet, nothing but
Mhm.
that, you're not, you know, it's not. You're not gonna live too long.
Mm-hmm.
Not even that, but it's like it's not very healthy.
Mm-mm.
And it's the same way where it's like basically some of these news outlets and some of this information we're on social media that we're intaking is terrible for our brain. It's
Mhm.
terrible for just in general, you know?
Yeah.
Like you're seeing people seeing violence, whatever it is, you know?
Mm-hmm.
It's having an effect and it's gonna like influencing you in ways you're not even aware of. And that's kind of what I feel like people kind of. Cause like you, and it's the same way where you have people be like, it's just Twitter, man. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
like it's
that's
not
what-
even that
that's what they
serious.
say.
It's not even that serious, bro.
That's
Like
what
you
they
taking
say.
it to, but it's like I mean that is a reflection of like you know.
Yeah, well, why are you spending 7 hours on your phone every day? Why are
Okay,
you spending a whole third of your fucking life? Because you're spending a whole third of your day
exactly,
on
man.
it. Like, it has you consumed.
That's the other thing. People are addicted and don't even realize it.
I'm at the point where I'm about to throw my phone away for a little bit. I told you, I put my phone in the other room sometimes, like when I do shit, so sometimes I don't reply to people and stuff now, but like, man, it's had a hold of me. It has, bro. Like, I've been at the point where, like, I actually realized, like, damn, I'm really checking my phone a lot. And I really knew it because I tested myself maybe been about a few months. No, it wasn't even a few months back. Dude, quarantine has my shit fucked up because
Ooh,
we've been locked down for a minute.
2020 in general.
Yeah,
bro.
like, because this was before quarantine because I was
Yeah.
still going to work.
It's crazy that was even a time.
But I had deleted my Instagram, not completely, but you know what I mean? Just deleted the app off my
Mhm.
phone. I checked my phone in a day, bro, maybe
30
like
times at least.
20, 30
Yeah.
times. And it wasn't there. And I was really able to catch myself because it wasn't there. So I was like, oh shit, it's not there.
Yeah.
Oh, shit.
But it made you
But I
aware of the
kept
habit.
on doing it,
Yeah.
bro. And I was like, dang, this is so habitual. Like,
this isn't.
that's crazy. And I wouldn't even consider myself somebody that's on social media a lot.
Yeah.
So I was like, damn, and I'm doing it like
It's
that.
the low end of the spectrum.
Exactly, I'm on the low
Nah.
end.
But that's a real thing, bro. Cause like, I just like obviously I'm not around people too much, but I do. It's something I do notice. It's some people I'm around. I'll be around them for extended periods of time, and they will not put that phone down.
Yeah.
And it's like that's just normal. Whereas like people really be on. It's like glued to their hands.
Mhm.
Like, say we sleep 8 hours. It's glued to their hands a good 6 hours out the day. They're of maybe like, you know, of whatever hours that they're awake.
Right.
And it's like shit's not healthy, man. Like this shit is having an effect, cause it's also like the effect that it's having, like the likes and like the interaction. It's like making people more dependent on social reinforcement and like external validation and external reinforcement. You know,
Mm-hmm.
because like that's like
100%.
you know. Wait, what'd you say?
No, I said 100%.
Oh
Yeah,
no, exactly.
I
You
was
know, because
agreeing.
it's like that's what people. It's like that's what it's like. Once that's what people are trying to achieve more of. It's
Yeah.
like okay, I need to post more or I need to do certain things so I can get the attention that I want. Essentially.
Right. Yeah, right.
But,
I was talking to a homie about that the other day. Once again, I don't mention names, but if he just so happened to listen to this, I'm very proud of him. Bro just got got put on salary at this job that he was working an internship for, and we were talking about stocks and just all types of different business stuff because that's what he's into. But besides that, we had mentioned a little bit about social media, and we were talking about somebody. And once again, I don't mention names, but we were talking about this person who exercises a lot, and this person is a very confident person, uh, seemingly from social media a little bit, narcissistic, a little bit egotistical,
that's what it's doing.
into themselves, and like. I mean, not to say that health isn't important. Health is very important, and I think you should take care of yourself.
Oh, yeah.
But this specific person, and this is a lot of other people. This is not to single anybody out, you know what I mean? But these are just observations. You know what I'm saying? Like, this dude, like, post himself every day, like, just like, his muscles and like, just working out and just like I'm here with it, like for what? You know what I'm saying? Like, and even on the opposite end, like with some females, just like doing the duck face every day. I'm just kind of like, for what? I don't get it. Like, why do we need to see 6 to 10 selfies every day? Why you got to pop up in the mirror 8 to 10 times every day? I'm trying to figure it out. Like, what? Like, why do you have the time to, like, are you on a timer? Do you have alarms on your phone to be like, hey, I got to take this picture of myself. I got to take this picture of myself. I got to take this picture. Because it's a lot.
Bro.
And I'm not trying to judge. I'm really trying to come to an understanding because I don't understand it. I don't get it. And living my real life. I don't get how you would want to desire to take that many pictures of yourself. I really, once again, not trying to judge, but I'm just making an observation. I feel like it's a little bit egotistical and kind of, like I said, narcissistic. Like, that's what it's making.
You hit on it, bro. That's what social media is doing too. It's turning people into some narcissists, and they're not realizing it. Yeah. Everybody's the hottest shit ever. Everybody. I got more followers than you. I'm hotter than you, bro. Don't talk to me. I got more followers than you, bro.
Look at all these.
You ain't got 10K. And it's like the people that got 50K, you ain't got 50K.
Yeah.
You ain't got 100K. Mm-hmm. That's all you know. And so it's like everyone is like chasing that, and it's really, man, that narcissism is detrimental because like it's really doing damage. Yeah. And like that's the other thing, like you said, what's the like 60 photos, like 60 bikini photos, or you got 60 photos of you shirtless working out, and it's like
of yourself.
Exactly. And what am I supposed to learn from?
Yeah.
Like what does that tell anyone about you?
Yeah, don't tell nothing about you. Throw a Drake lyric at the bottom. That's another thing. I'm still like, no, for real. Throw the Drake lyric. Pop Smoke died, so he's popping. Let me throw something Pop Smoke said and put the little fucking star emoji on it, whatever the fuck. But like,
lit.
Yeah, bro. Yeah. Lit. Period.
You know what I'm saying?
We on the beach, half naked. Look at my body.
But that's the other thing, is making people feel. It really is like inflating people's sense of importance.
For real.
And that's the biggest problem. People are now, it's kind of like, oh, I'm important. You can't tell me shit. I got followers. I got followers, bro. Don't tell me nothing.
See, but my problem with that is, bro, it's like, I understand the influencing aspect of it. I realize that people have the potential to monetize. But it's like a lot of people that are aspiring to do that. Once again, we're in America and there's competition. So not everybody's going to make it. So it's like people are just doing that just to for their existence. You know what I'm saying? It's like, I'm important. Look at me just for my existence. Because I'm here and I think I'm attractive. And I hope you do too. And you probably do. So I'm going to get more likes. So like, you know what I'm saying? Here I am. Look at me. Like, what's the point?
And I feel like social media is just incentivizing fame. But not even just fame, because now, like you're saying, people just want to be famous. People just want. I feel like social media is encouraging people to want other people to know who they are just for the sake of it.
Yeah.
And it's also kind of like where it's like, so there's like, if they can't achieve fame, then it's like notoriety will do.
Right.
Like, excuse me.
You good, bro.
It's like, if I can't be famous, if I can do something reckless or wild or scandalous, I'll do that. You know what I'm saying? If people are gonna know my name, if I do something
Boom
scandalous,
gang.
you know what I'm saying?
Boom gang, whole lot of gang shit.
And like that's kind of tied into it, man. Shit, if I'm half naked and people paying attention to me, then fuck it. I'm just keep being half naked.
Just keep
you know,
on doing
people.
that.
And again, I'm not trying. You know, this is just one person's opinion.
Yeah,
you know?
right.
This is
Yeah.
one person's observation.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's
Throw
funny.
in your opinions too in the comments.
Yeah.
You see, I've been posting. We getting social class popping. We need engagement.
Nah, for sure.
My bad, I didn't mean to cut you off.
Nah, for sure. It's just kind of like where it's like
I ran out.
they're making like if they're making money off it, you know, more power to them. I'm just saying like there's two sides to a lot of things. It's
Right.
like, you know,
Right.
that's something to pay attention to too.
Right.
I'm just keep our. It's a social experiment. That's what we all going through.
You
right
never
now.
even told me that before. That's a new one.
Oh no, yeah,
Yeah,
that's
it's
because
a
that's really
social
like that's what
experiment.
man, some guinea pigs, bro. That's
About
what
to
we
see how
are.
that- Dude, I'm interested to see like what type of 50-year-olds about to come out of this shit. You know what I'm saying? Like what kind of grandparents about to come out of this?
Yeah, it's even more dangerous where it's like, shit. Yeah, like what about the younger kids that are gonna eventually go up into positions of power? You know, they grow.
Oh.
Imagine like 8 and 10-year-olds now. So like in 10, 15 years when they're in their 20s and all they've known is social media and all they've known is like me in front of a camera.
Right.
And it's like that's kind of their whole sense of the world. Like shit's only important if it's on the internet.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. Is that, you know? It's like that narcissism. Are they gonna care about anything else? But of course, this isn't everyone. You know what I'm saying? But it's like it does have a strong hold on a lot of people.
Right. Are you okay, Kyle? Everything good? I'm gonna start the live again.
Let me get some
In the
water.
middle of the thing.
We're at 58 minutes.
Okay, that. Let's start wrapping it up soon. Oh shit! It's 9:30 already. Oh, we started late though. Come back to it.
Damn. Yeah, shit just been flowing.
It always flow, man. This is a new
But nah.
format. I like the new format.
Yeah. I'm just gonna put a disclaimer out every time too. Fact check everything I say.
Yeah. No,
But that's. I mean, I want it. Like people should have been known that before I said that.
Yeah.
You know? Like,
it's sad
see,
that you gotta say that.
Exactly. I don't want to get to it. Like that's what I was saying earlier. Like I don't think anybody should get to a place where you can't question them.
Yeah.
You know. So it's like, and it's the same thing with criticism. But like that's a whole different conversation. But it's kind of like, still where it's like, I mean, I don't know. People aren't really above criticism.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I don't want to ever be above criticism.
Yeah. Oh, for sure. I'm definitely not above criticism in everything that I say. This is one of. I'm gonna be honest. on the podcast real quick.
Let them know, please.
Yeah, bro. I was talking to somebody. I may have mentioned this to you before too, but like sometimes I feel uncomfortable doing this.
Yeah.
Because
Oh, no.
reevaluating and looking back at the things that I say, I could have a different opinion tomorrow morning about
Shit.
something that I said tonight. I'm like, oh shit, I fucked up, or oh shit, I wasn't as informed as I thought I was. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So like, we're not here thinking that everything we say is right. Like,
Yeah.
we're literally just trying to stimulate people's minds to have the conversation. That's really what this is for. Once again, reiterating perspective and understanding. Please understand that we're human and we're flawed, and we all are.
Exactly.
That's what I'm trying to say. And like, these are our opinions right now at this present moment about this conversation. But like, you know, hopefully it'll spark something within people to start the conversation. That was the whole point, because we feel like a lot of people ain't really having the conversation as much as they need to.
No, but, and
That-
no, what you
You
saying?
about to say?
No, I was saying my thing is it's more just like to put stuff out in the air, like
Mhm.
theories, opinions, like
Mm-hmm.
different thoughts, cause like that's it. I mean, you never know. Getting somebody else's train of thought like might spark something. You know,
Right.
somebody hearing this.
Right. But I guess to tie it back, that made me think about, I think I mentioned him earlier in the podcast too, about Dr. Boyce Watkins, and he was mentioning about how the conversation of money, a lot of times our parents don't talk to their kids about money,
True.
which is like crazy considering that's our means of survival in the world. You know what I mean? So it's
Yeah.
like, why not inform our children about finances? You know what I mean? And start opening up that conversation, or even with your friends, start talking about finances and stuff. I'm at the point right now, bro, where to be honest, if we're not talking about anything progressive or anything that's going to better me, I don't really want to be around my, you know, like,
I don't
like that's
need to
not,
talk to
I
you
don't
like
need
that,
that,
you know what I'm
shit.
saying?
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
like, that's where we're kind of at with it. But bringing it back, like, we need to make sure that this is a part of the discussion. What we talked about tonight in terms of living and standing behind which you project. That's very important. You know what I mean? That whatever you believe in carries on into your real life and your real behavior. Please do that. That's
Yes.
that
Nah, that's,
like please
let's get
do
back,
that.
Let's get back to that.
Yeah, like let's
That's-
get back to that.
to
Let's
society,
get
yeah.
back to being real people.
Yes.
For real, and not just profiles.
Not just internet personalities.
Exactly. And then for two, black people, man, we need to own ourselves. You know what I mean? I don't know who need to hear this. Non-black allies, man, please support black businesses, but black people also, we need to provide quality products, and we need to have the same common goal in terms of ownership and creating a means of owning all of our production. That is very, very, very important. We cannot drop that shit on the bins, on the Louis bag. We got to stop that. We got to get out of that. We got to get out of purchasing material items that aren't going to appreciate in value. That's what we need to get out of. Because we can still rock things like, I believe T.I. was talking about the gold. You know what I'm saying? And Derek Grace was talking about like the gold that they invest in, how they buy jewelry and pieces that don't have as much diamonds and things like that because the gold is going to appreciate in value. Yeah. So it's like, you know, we have to be more strategic with our purposes and with our purchases, and our investments and things like that. But you got anything else you want to say before you leave? Got a book? Got something? I don't know. Anything we haven't mentioned? It's okay if you don't.
Just the book, The Meritocracy Trap. I'm almost done with that one. I'm trying to think. There's another book I wanted to...
There's one that I want to throw out there too, by the way. I'll throw it out there really quick.
Yeah,
we could throw out two in case if you don't have one. The interview I was listening to, I believe that this will probably be a lot of helpful information in this book. I have not personally read it, but I have listened to the author speak. So I need to check it out myself. But it's called Powernomics by Dr. Claude Anderson. Okay. So, you know, if you stumble upon that book, because it's in relation to everything that we talked about tonight pretty much, you know, about economic empowerment. So if you're interested in that type of knowledge, content, whatever, check out Powernomics by Dr. Claude Anderson. Yeah. Anything else?
Nah, that's it.
Lastly, I'm going to plug my homie Shirts once again. My homie selling shirts for $40. Follow him on Instagram, 1111 Stay Golden. The shirt says "We Will Breathe." The site's coming soon, 1111.com. And he's trying to do something to give back. You know what I mean? A friend of mine. So, you know, help him out. Help him give back to the community. For every shirt that is bought, he's going to donate a meal and a shirt to a person in need, and also use some of his profits to donate to getting a food drive together. So, yeah, man. Supports, and he's black too. So support black business. If you want to support black business, support my homie. His @name is once again 1111 Stay Golden. His website is coming soon. A friend of mine. All right, bet. This has been episode 8 of Social Class. Kyle P got to get out of here. That's it.